Hello. Today I'm back sitting in front of the camera and talking to you guys, and it's been probably almost a month since I've done this, because my past 3 videos have been collabs, or I guess a video with my dad doesn't really count as a collab, but actually yeah, it kind of does, because his podcast and whatnot. Anyway, so this is my first video in almost a month where I'm just sitting and talking to you guys, and it feels good. This is my favorite way to make videos. It feels good, to be back in my own space. And don't get me wrong, I love making videos with other people, but I don't know, there's just something about being in your own space. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling about pointless shit, and we're gonna get into what this video is actually gonna be about. Today, I wanted to tell you guys what it feels like to be put under anesthesia. I've had a countless amount of surgeries done in my life for multiple different reasons. I'm not gonna bother you by getting into the details of why I needed to get surgery and what the surgeries were, because I feel like I've talked about that enough in some of my other videos. So if you're not aware, or if you forget, or if you're just curious, I did make a Q&A almost a year ago now, which is wild, kind of more about my situation and whatnot. But just to give you a quick, overview in case you don't feel like going back and watching all that shit. I was born with a very severe case of scoliosis, as well as, I guess, a form of dwarfism that kind of resulted from the scoliosis. I still don't really know. To be completely honest with you, I'm almost 20 years old, and I still don't fully understand my own body. And I'm pretty sure my parents don't really fully understand it either. I'm pretty sure my doctors don't fully understand. My situation is just so unique that it's pretty much impossible to say, hey, I have this, and have it be fully explained. It's a little bit more complicated than that, which is frustrating, but what are you gonna do? So because I've had to have so many surgeries done, that means I've had to be put under anesthesia a lot. And because I've had to go under anesthesia so many times, I started to notice and kind of pick up on what it really feels like, and like the process, and how it actually feels. And it's weird, it's wild. So if you're interested, just keep on listening. Obviously, that's why you clicked on the video. Okay, Taylor, shut up. So first, I guess, if you don't know even what anesthesia is, it is a drug, essentially, that doctors and anesthesiologists use to render you unconscious so that they can perform surgery or other procedures, whatnot, on you without you feeling anything, or, being awake while they're cutting open your body, that kind of shit. So I think I'll just walk through what the process even is when you go in to get surgery, because that kind of leads up to what anesthesia feels like and all that good stuff. I also want to point out that this is just my personal experience. Different hospitals may do things differently. They may use different drugs. I mean, they'll still use anesthesia, but just different kinds of anesthesia. And I went to a children's hospital, obviously, because I was a child. So, this is just my experience and what exactly they did for me, but I'm pretty sure they would do very similar things at most hospitals. When you go in to get surgery, one of the first things that they'll do after you've waited in the waiting room is bring you back into a space called the pre-op room, I guess. One thing that they do almost always, especially with kids, is when they get you into the pre-op room, they'll give you this medicine called Versed, and because it was a children's hospital, they called it silly juice. Because what it does is it kind of just calms the patient and gets rid of anxiety, and basically gives them fucking amnesia, because they would give it to me and I wouldn't really remember anything after they gave it to me. I wouldn't remember them wheeling me into the operating room, talking to me, anything. And just to kind of give you a perspective as to what the Versed does, it kind of makes you act like you act when you get your wisdom teeth taken out. Like, you see those videos of people acting all loopy and shit. Yeah, that's basically what the Versed does. So for a long time, they would give that to me, and sometimes I would remember going back into the operating room, but most of the times I wouldn't remember it. And after a few years of getting 2 surgeries a year, doing the same shit over and over again. I knew what to expect. I knew what was going on. I wasn't just, a naive child that had no idea what was happening. Like, I knew what was going on. So I stopped having them give me the silly juice before I went back. Number 1, it tastes like shit. Tastes awful. So that was a big reason why I wanted to stop doing it. But also, it apparently, when I didn't take it, it made the waking up process after surgery a lot smoother. Obviously, I don't remember that, but, apparently the doctors and my parents and shit, like, they noticed the difference. So after that, then they finally wheel you to the operating room. Now, if you've taken the Versed, you probably won't remember this part, but like I said, I stopped taking it after a few years, so I did remember all of this stuff, and honestly, I'm glad, because it's really interesting, and it's fun to talk about. It's a fun story to tell. So they wheel me back into the operating room. Now, as I got older and technology advanced, I noticed that they had a fucking flat screen TV with, like, I guess a camera attached to it, because when they would wheel me in, I would look up at the TV and see myself on the TV. So I'm guessing, obviously they have that there for while they're doing the surgery. You can see my sliced open back broadcasted for the entire room to see, which, I mean, tight, So that, I remember thinking that was really interesting. And then what they did for me, which they probably do it for everybody, but they give you like a heated blanket, and it's just like I'm chilling. Like, obviously, any normal kid would be like freaking the fuck out, but like I said, I'd had this done so many times that I was just like, just talking to the nurses as they're fucking hooking me up to all these machines. So one of the first things they start to do is put the little stickers on you, which monitor your heart rate and your blood pressure. No, not your blood pressure. It's your heart rate, I think. And then, they put a blood pressure cuff and all that good shit. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I just remember putting the little stickers. I'm pissed that I can't remember what they're called. I'll put a picture so you know what I'm talking about. But I just remember putting those on. It took a long time because they put a lot of them on. And this whole time, they're just talking to you casually, just making conversation, which is great, making you feel as comfortable as possible. And after they do all that, it is time to go night-night, my friends. So, a lot of times before you go back, they will ask you what flavor you would like your air to smell like. They call it like the sleepy gas or something, I don't know. And I didn't know this until recently, but literally all they do is they take like a flavored lip balm, like whatever flavor you pick, and rub it inside the mask. Like, it's not even the actual air that smells like anything, it's the fucking mask, which is, genius. But anyway, you lay down, and they put the mask on you, and you're just laying there chilling. At first, when they first put the mask on, it's just oxygen blowing through, and they just have you sit there, lay there, and breathe in the oxygen as normal and just relax. And then and then the nurse says, okay, at least for me, this is what happened. The nurse says, okay, the smell is going to change now. And I did a little bit of research, and I'm fairly sure what the air changes to is nitrous oxide, which is the same stuff they use when you're at the dentist or the orthodontist, whatever, and they put that thing over your nose that gives you like laughing gas. It's like that same thing. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure that's what it is that they change the air to. And soon after the smell in the mask air changes, I would start to feel a little bit funny at this point. You start to feel a little bit tingly in your head, and your body starts to feel a little bit meh. And plus you kind of just are completely careless. Like, it kind of makes you not really give a shit about what's going on. And at this point they're not really talking to you, they're just talking like amongst themselves, and it's really funny because sometimes they'll just be talking about the most random shit, just about their lives, like so casual, like as a child is being drugged to sleep on the table in front of them, they're just chilling. Obviously there's nothing like wrong with that, it's just funny to think about. All the while I'm drifting You know, I'm drifting into the oblivion, you feel me? It literally feels like you're drifting. Like, it... Now, when it starts to get weird is when shit starts to sound different. I remember every time, like, I started to notice that when they would give me the anesthetic, I guess the mask one, I don't know, because I know they do inject it in an IV also, like the type of anesthetic that they put through the IV is the one that really, like, puts you out. But they never put an IV in me while I was, like, awake and, like, chilling. So, like, I'm starting to think that they put the IV in after the nitrous oxide started to take effect, because I never felt them put a needle in my arm. I never saw them put a needle in my arm. So I would assume that that's what they would do. So after a few minutes, you know, they're talking amongst themselves. You're laying there with the mask. You're chilling. You're drifting. It starts to sound like... How do I make this make sense? It starts to sound like you are slowly backing through a tunnel and all the doctors and everyone are on the other end. I'm not kidding. It's every time, that's what it feels like. It's what it sounds like. You start to hear like this, and I don't know if it's a fucking machine. It could be a machine. I don't know. I don't think so though, because it's like inside of you. I sound like I'm like on drugs telling this story, but this is what it feels like, okay? It seriously sounds like you're backing through a tunnel and everyone else's voices start to kind of echo. It's weird. You know, you're starting to literally feel like you fucking detach from your body. Like, you are no longer of this world. No, but it seriously feels like you're drifting, like you are ascending to the gods. It doesn't feel like you're dying, it just feels... You get it. Now, this is why I think that they put in the IV after the nitrous starts to take effect, is because I started to notice you literally, you're starting to drift off to sleep, but you feel, at least I did, I felt this, like, rush go down one arm, and then down the other arm, and I don't remember if I felt it go down my legs, but I think I did too. And it's as if your nerves or like your muscles or some shit are just shutting down, and like you feel it. Like it doesn't hurt, it doesn't feel like uncomfortable, it's just like a sweep, like a... I've never tried to move after that because I was too scared. Like, the thought of trying to move and not being able to just scared the complete shit out of me, so like I never thought to try. But if I were to, like, it felt like if I were to try to move I wouldn't have been able to, is my point. And soon after that happens, you knock out. But as you're like going through the tunnel thing, you can still kind of hear what everyone is saying and you can still understand what they're saying. So almost every time the nurse will go, "Taylor, are you good? Or you feeling okay? Are you okay? How are you doing?" And it'll sound super fucky because, like I said, you're tripping out, like you're drifting away, and like you feel like you're completely gone, but you can still bring yourself to go or like nod or something. I don't remember how I think I just said and then like not long after that I would be out. It's not like this dramatic end. Like, it's not like you feel like you're backing into a tunnel and then you feel like you're falling and then you're out. It's not anything like that. It's kind of just like next thing you know, you're awake in the recovery room with a sore ass throat. Which brings me to why your throat is sore, in case you don't know, after you wake up from surgery. If you ever had surgery and you wake up, your throat usually hurts like a bitch afterwards. And that's why they give you like an icy or something. The reason your throat hurts so bad, and I honestly, like, it shocks me that people don't know about this. After you're out, they shove a breathing tube down your throat. But there's videos of the process, and it's kind of terrifying to watch, but you don't feel that. You don't feel them doing that because, like I said, you're completely out by that point. But they literally shove a tube down your throat to breathe for you while you're out. And also while you're out, while you're like asleep under anesthesia, sedated is probably the better word to use, you don't dream or anything like that. Like, it's not like sleeping. I mean, it's like sleeping, because when you wake up, you feel like you were asleep, but you don't dream or anything like that because your brain is pretty much inactive. So yeah, that is what it's like to be put under anesthesia. The experience that I had, at least, and what it felt like and what I thought about it. Let me know if you guys have ever had any similar experiences, if you've ever had surgery before, if you remember what it was like to be actually put to sleep. And real quick before I go, I'm going to do a Twitter shout out, and I haven't done it in my past 3 videos. I know it's because they were collabs and I just wasn't thinking about it. But, you know, here we are back in the natural habitat. So this video's Twitter shout out goes out to Peyton. I always see her in my mentions and notifications and all that stuff. So thank you, you're a queen. And of course, thank you to everybody else who also shows me love on social media and on YouTube and on everything. All you have to do to be chosen for one of these Twitter shout outs is to follow me on Twitter. And if I notice you retweeting and liking and all that stuff often, then I'll put you in, because I just like to give you guys that recognition that I do see and appreciate all the support that you give me, because it does mean the world, and you will never understand. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you feel like it, because I put out new videos every Monday and Friday, and I've been fucking killing that lately. So, just saying. Alright, I will see you guys in my next video. Love you, bye!